Okay, welcome everyone to the 2024 Poetry Anthology Reading. My name is Jackie Oshman. I'm the one who's been emailing all of you back and forth. Just so everyone knows, I am the only person that does anything with the Poetry Anthology. So when you email to SIRS or Poetry Team, you're just emailing me. This reading is being recorded and it will be available on the website by the end of the week. You can see last year's reading and last year's and this year's anthology on the website, which is www.nbfpl.org/poetry. This is the 26th year that New Brunswick has been having the anthology. For a few years, it was a combination with Raritan Valley Federation of Libraries. The past 2 or 3 years, it's just been ours again, but again, it's open to everyone. This is the 13th year that I've been involved, which is apparently a new record for poetry anthology coordinators. We had 71 poets this year, a couple fewer than last year, so I might have a good excuse to tell my director that next year we need to print the booklet out again. We have not had a booklet made since 2019. At that point, we had well over 100 participants, so the book was too thick, but now with only 70, it should be perfectly fine to staple next year. This year's poetry anthology is dedicated to the late poet Paul Sohar. He passed away in August. Paul had been participating in our anthology since 2012, and his widow Ava is actually on the meeting with us. She's across the country or across the world, actually. So she might not stay the whole time, but she is here. And she has kindly offered the use of one of her late daughter's artwork for the front cover of this year's anthology. I want to thank everyone who participated this year, especially all the newcomers. A reminder that this entire program is all for fun and to celebrate Poetry Month. I apologize if there are any unnoticed errors. Hopefully everybody caught the errors that I made last week. And if I mispronounce your name tonight, I am very sorry. Please correct me once you unmute yourself and introduce yourself. The anthology is now available on the library's website for everyone to read or download. If you do need it downloaded to you in an alternate format, shoot me an email and I will send you the direct link. You are not required to read at this program tonight. If you're nervous, don't worry about it. Everyone will be able to read your poem in the book. I will call on everyone who is participating tonight to read his or her poem, unless you send me a message saying that you do not want to read. I will give everyone one more chance at the end of the program in case you change your mind or in case you came late and I somehow missed you on the attendance sheet. I'm not going to forget anybody. At the end, I'll ask, are there any other poets you haven't read? Poets who need to leave early will be speaking first. After that, I will call on poets alphabetically by their last name. Please keep yourselves on mute when it is not your turn to read so others are not disrupted. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box. And we're going to get started now. Our first poet tonight is Abram Beasley.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. And hello to everyone out there that does not know me. I'm an abstract expressionist all the way from Kansas. It's where I practice. I do not have any formal training in poetry, although I've been writing poetry for the past 22 or more years. I write poetry in situ, which means in the moment. So something comes along my day and I feel to express it. That's how I come upon these feelings. As an artist, sometimes I can see and feel very deeply. And this poem that I'm bringing to you tonight was in response to my kiddos. They were with me for so long growing up as little ones, and then they went to live with their mother. And this was the night of their departure back to the airport. And it was one of those moments you'll never forget. So thanks for allowing me to share it with you. It's called Reflecting Blue. Blue, blue, such a happy blue. Stay, happy blue, stay. Don't fly away, blue. Please stay. This feeling, blue. Blue when so far away. And alone blue is a blue here to stay. Blue, blue, such a sad blue. Wash away this pain, blue. So far away, blue. Blue, blue, reflecting blue. This feeling blue today. Reflecting blue. Thank you.
Thank you, Abram. I just sent a message in the chat. If anyone would like to follow along as the poets are reading, I'll tell you what page they're on before they start reading. I did mention Abram was on page 4. Our next speaker tonight will be Joy Creeves, who is on page 31.
Hi, thank you. This poem is Carnations. No other bouquet can express a serviceable day more accurately than this sturdy spray for a recognition of nameable achievements. But the accomplishments worthy of this bloom are not those that make one wise, would not release one's spirit from the reincarnation cycle. Take that lotus swaying and waxy, how it symbolizes the end of all that trying to get it right and the beginning of timelessness. Surely there is a specific flower to recognize each attainment. What would be the spot-on choice for feats of numinous failure? Last night I rubbed my wrists with violet oil, wallowed in its seductive tragedy, lay on my fainting couch, but morning came, bearing all the comforts of elixir ordinaire, comprised of birdsong and the color wheel of summer. I chased it down neat with resolve I'd held in reserve, made sure to wash down the purple, and yet my heart does still beat bruised at the thought of those mundane military flowers that stay crisp and starched forever, like high school graduation photos, faces cemented into youth, mouths rehearsed into triumphant smiles. God, I hate carnations. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next is Lakshman Balusu.
Good evening, good afternoon, good day. Thanks for welcoming me tonight. I'm a poet from Princeton, New Jersey, and my poem is titled A Moonlit Night. It is on page 15. The peeping stars steal the winning smiles of the moon at the earth draped in its guilt, like a pen takes control of heavy minds. Midnight hours stroll in the murmuring silence of the crickets, like faint leaves in the autumn end, strewn on shriveled pathways, or atoms of unused talent in the bare furrows of my mind. Fireflies, like vagabonds, spark the chillness of the night, like fond memories to the serifs of dreams. And the intangible shadows of invested flora in their night sheen stare like addresses on letters. The clouds, all that remained of the day, with their hues camouflaged by silver, idle in the yonder skies, and the gentle rays pierce their recesses, fitting them to mellow the whiteness. The hills trod by lions and their friends, in drowsy yawns closing in nature's shelters, echo the clots of hurrying feet of those settling in afar mud homes. Betwixt the hills run streams glazed by cooling flakiness of snowy air, melting the night's silence into a delicate glee, like mercy flowing to stark reality, melts the latter and its hardcore deeds. This panorama, spread out so grand, evokes a lyrical poem, a poem of morrow to celebrate any night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Michelle Nelson on page 37.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Okay, the name of my poem is Imagine Being Free. Imagine being free, where God is all that mattered, and the peace you feel within when He's present stays with you every waking moment of your life. Imagine being free when those on this earth charged with loving you anyway don't, and you finally awake in the morning full of gratitude rather than tears. Imagine being free and in total disregard of negativity from others in word or deed. Imagine being free where there is always clarity of mind. Imagine being free where you can will your dark mental state to take a back seat for the rest of your journey in life. Imagine being free where you can have one mind, just one. Imagine being free, and when you awake, all that's on your plate is what God put there, and you execute that. Imagine being free from worries from many years ago that still makes you cringe. Imagine being free from worries about decisions your grown children have and are making in their lives that takes them further away from truth. Imagine being free from worries about what is being perceived about who you are and why you are. Imagine being free from worrying about their business and finally understanding that it makes your life no better or worse. Imagine being free where you can focus only on what makes you tick. Imagine being free where your mind is laser focused on the goodness you have to share. Imagine being free where the regrets are long gone, the past a distant memory, and all that matters is the foot you put in front of the other. Imagine being free, free enough to not wonder what's wrong with the world, but know in your heart that as you take your next step, you will do your part to create a more loving space. Imagine being free where boldness is your norm and audacity your playbook. Imagine being free where your allotted 24 hours is utilized for nothing more and nothing less than a life you choose to create. Imagine being free from believing that obtaining things is what gives you power and recognizing that the power is already within. Imagine being free. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Other poets are posting reactions in the chat box, so make sure you're looking there to see reactions to your poems. Next up is Ed Belding on page 6. Is Ed still here? Okay, it looks like he might have dropped out, so we'll come back to him at the end. Diane Beyer, page 8.
Good afternoon and good evening to everyone, and thank you for having me. This poem is about a really close friend that I lost last year to dementia and my daughter. Two women perfectly imperfect. Two women years apart, different lives, connected to both. A long time ago, one offered compassion, refuge when I was desperately in need. The other I birthed. One woman persevered and inspired, passionately cooked and baked, bringing everyone to her table, generosity infused, resembling drizzled strawberry sauce decorating desserts. Her arms always open like the doors of her home, wisdom and soul melding together, fusing all faiths with love. Her children's best friend, now meeting her family at the train station, taking a new seat as she leaves an open seat, becoming everyone's missing piece. Another woman just starting out needs to develop a smidgen of patience, inspirational also, running charity events at 9, brilliant researcher, aids animals, happily introverted, foodie, would have hungrily devoured Pat's passionate cooking. Late summer flowers fading yet blooming, leaves changing color, celebration of life for both, tears of joy, cherished for being perfectly imperfect. One celebrates another journey around the sun, the other becomes an angel, birth and death, honored the same day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Isa Espedon Blyden, page 9. Is Isa still here? You have to unmute yourself.
I'm here.
Okay.
I know the poem. Hello?
Yes,
I'm
Natalie?
Natalie. I'm going to read
Okay.
a poem.
No, Natalie, you're not in the anthology. You didn't submit.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, so Isa,
May I do the poetry?
no, this is only for poets that entered the anthology.
What is the anthology?
A book of poetry that we're putting together.
Okay. Can you go to the website so I can be in the?
You can be in next year's.
Okay.
Okay, Isa, please go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. My name is Isa Spaden Blyden. I enjoy writing poetry because I enjoy the imagery and the metaphors, the things you can juxtapose and put together to tell a story or to give a glimpse of something that will either bring out understanding or inspiration or some kind of upliftment. The poem that I'm going to read is called Descending at JFK Airport. It was inspired by two friends when I was living in New York City, which was I considered one of the greatest times in my life. But I was coming back from Senegal in West Africa where I was then living. And these two friends always had parties, so I was coming in because I'd heard one was going to be having a party and I was sure the other one was going to have something else. And the plane was stuck in the air and he couldn't find a parking space. And this is what inspired the poem then, and I've been fond of it, so I'm pleased to be able to read it. Descending at JFK Airport, watching the jet wing dip, sway, then hover high again above her skyline. My heart beats, slow as dread, at minutes, unbearably suspended, while watchtowers peer in pink, misted up runways for landing space. From an oval window, my eye downward bends to watch lights beckoning, struggling to warm a waning cold sun, swallowed up in a skyline sinew. New York City, shimmering gold smooth operator on river's rippling promises. How I love freedom so fluid in your veins, sparkling energy quickening my heartbeats, racing in tandem with my high heels, hurrying up toward alluring skyscraper wealth, once foolishly fancy English, sold for nutmegs. That's
Thank
it.
you.
You're welcome.
Next is R. Bremner on page 13.
Hi all. First of all, I'd like to thank the library for putting together the anthology and for hosting this meeting. That's very, very, very nice of you. I've been writing poems for about 45 years or more, and this particular poem was written based on a philosophical essay that a friend of mine wrote, and I turned it into a poem. So here we go. Impacts persist. They test the limits of opening doors. Unknown doors open, teaching us. Possible windows reframe the dimensions of comprehension as if defined by growing ideas. Unbelievable ideas burn bushes that speak, striking the awe that approaches. Form and context overwhelm. Your sometimes words glide in night and glimmer in the day. Your spectral voices reappear as bodies prospecting for tomorrow. I gain a glance into the incalculable mathematics of incongruities. You say you'll help me to construct glaciers that move currents and structures that coalesce events, spreading shards of continents, connecting mountains to the sea. And suddenly, I conquer new fears and explore vistas. Gone is the unseen. Untapped scenarios reemerge and remind us that despite all that we've lost, we have new worlds to discover. Thank you and have a pleasant night.
Thank you very much. Next is Deborah Castellano on page 9.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for having me. And this is my very first reading. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Of course, my voice went scratchy. Anyway, this is to me what I think an author is. It's called I Love Your Slacks. An author of the male persuasion, cross-legged in his slacks, like a Vincent van Gogh, pipe in the corner of his mouth. The artist brush inside his mind paints a story to touch your soul. With gentle strokes of tenderness, a field of love unfolds. Perhaps a self-portrait of rhetoric, a sketch sparingly used. With his colorful palette of passions, sits cross-legged in his slack. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and welcome to the first reading. Next
Thank
is
you.
Gina Scarpelli Coffee on page 5.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I can never tell with this dang thing. It's a new computer. So I've been writing poetry since I was 8 years old, and I've had some publications, and I also paint. I play ukulele, I play the banjo. I do anything I can to create, and the reason why is creation is the only thing that keeps me sane. I'm bipolar, so here we go. This was written in one of my darkest moments, and the poem is called Char. Yeah, it has a deeper meaning. You show the world a part of yourself, but you hide from the world who you really are. So here we go. Char. Scorched from the inside out, not the outside in. I'm sullied by life, but not by sin. The char has penetrated beneath my skin. I'm solid on the outside, but I'm ashes within. Well, let come to lick my soul. Let the flames come and ascend the pole. I'll take comfort among the warm coals there, for inside the char it all seems fair. That I should be scorched from the inside out, smoldering confidently without a doubt. There you have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Laura Daniels on page 17.
Great. Thanks, Jackie. Okay, my poem is called Question Authority, and it's after Jimmy Santiago Baca's Who Understands Me But Me. They wanted quiet, meek, and mild, but I was loud and clear. They said to hold all questions, but I raised my hand wanting to know. They said to sit down in the back, but I stood my ground up front. They denied my body's freedom, but I fought for what was mine alone. They denied me dignity and respect, but I earned it in the end. I won't keep quiet, never could, never will. And I question your authority, your knowledge, and I stand with others who rise in protest, and I fight for a woman's right to choose, because we want to live beautiful, dignified lives. Who will understand this fight besides me? And who understands me when I say that is beautiful? The end. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you. Thank you for participating. Janae Edwards on page 21.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the name of my poem is called Unworded Community. A culture full of greed, individuals scoping through materialistic deeds, with vomiting viewpoints that take us to our knees, political and corporate vultures draining us indeed. A whirlwind so supreme, how can a community ever measure up to unjustified means? Tongue-twisting and devastating desires, ultimately creating a mouthful of lies, an unwarranted community in the palm of their hands, where aggravation and frustration goes hand in hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marshall S. Harth on page 27.
I just unmuted myself.
Yes,
So
we
this
can
is my this is my first go here. This poem is a poem that's in the beginning of a memoir that I've just started to write. And the memoir is called Wordless, and it tries to deal with the impact of my having been abandoned as a little baby several times. So the poem is called The Wordless Poem. The wordless poem expresses it all. Between the stanzas, between the lines, between the words, between the letters, resides the meaning behind the meaning, the inexpressible, lurking theme, just waiting, circling interminably within the absence of expression, within the existential lubricant of meaning, within the wordless poem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next is Elizabeth Jonak and then Ken Jonak immediately following on pages 28 and 29.
Hello, this is Elizabeth Jonak, and I'm happy to submit a poem this every year for several years to this anthology. Thank you. The title is How Did I Find You? So ordinary, unremarkable, not a cover girl or superstar. How did I find someone so rare, so extraordinary, a Superman? I am transformed in your eyes, elevated to a treasure, a princess. When will this adoration, love, respect ever waver? Never, I begin to realize, as long as the sun shines, the moon rises, and hearts love. You cannot see my flaws, or rather, you see past them to the beauty and kindness underneath. How did I find you, deserve you? I will never fathom. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jackie, thank you so much. This is Ken. Thank you for taking the time to put all this together, all your time and efforts, really. And this poem is called The One Constant Is You. Spring. Sunlight filters through the leaves. Laughter echoes. Playing fields awash with life. Excitement in the air. Flowers dance as night falls. The moon rises. Hand in hand, lovers slowly walk through the park. Summer. Vacations, long days, walks through the quiet streets, running through the fields without a care. The crack of the bat, time stands still. Sand, surf, bright skies, sweethearts dance, eyes meet. Autumn, cool breeze, lightning, storm gathers far away. Leaves gently find their way to the ground. Crisp, cold air wafts through your amber hair. Evening gives way to starlight as I walk you home. Winter. bitter cold. The snow squalls make it hard to see. Snowmen, igloos, laughing away the hours. I see your breath. You see mine. We watch the stars. Holding you by the fireplace, the one constant is you. Thank you.
Thank you both. Next is Susan Justiniano on page 30.
Hola, beautiful ones. Thank you, Jackie. The poem is titled, Nothing Worthwhile is Neat or Tidy. There is something sacred in silence, a harmonic understanding of the world, power to define our civilized selves, connections between us and them, the heart, the first them, currents feeding the rest, flow in, flow out, thump, thump, rushing through silence, confident, sure with its mission, needs to reach them, the brain, structured them, externalizing power of systems to systems that don't always give back false witness to how we think the world is, rationalizing for them, the soul, the biggest them, succession of self unpredictable in rebellion of them, always looking inward to change the outward. Sacred silence is busy. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Next is Annie Clyer Newcomer, page 29.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm from Shawnee Mission, Kansas. And I'm reading haiku in classical form. Knocking on the roof, the rain finds its way in. Night storm. Workmen gather, tree limbs raised to sawdust, morning sickness. Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen Millman on page 36.
I didn't expect to come up that soon. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, everybody. It's lovely to hear so many voices, so many poet voices. It's been lovely. My poem is called High Anxiety. It's basically based on a true story, and anybody who's a parent will be able to relate to it, I think. High anxiety. My offspring claim it's my fault, hardwiring them with the worry gene, encoded in mother's tales of hell, the way of bullets and what they shatter. In my kitchen today, my grown children mash and rehash a hot, puffing kettle of worry. I watch it bubble over, seep beneath the French doors, creep under the flowering plum. Daughter serves up the stew. He'll starve in college, eat only pizza and good and plenty. Son stirs in his family ingredients. What if she has an asthma attack in sleepaway camp? Heard a kid in Pennsylvania got measles. We're only looking at New York. In chorus, you're planning a trip to Israel now? Jerky and running, much the same as those 8mm movies. My mind unrolls scenes, not silent, but screeching like red-tailed hawks stalking out their spaces. A grandchild's sore throat, surely pneumonia. A son's knee pain, torn. Late bulletins concerning showers of neutrino particles. The last humpback whale singing its farewell song into an emptied sea. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Myrna Miranda O'Neill on page 25.
Okay, I'm unmuting myself. Sorry, it also surprised me. Okay, so My poem is in Spanish, and I could translate if you want me to. Viaje al interior. Los laberintos de la mente hay que transitarlos con los fantasmas de la memoria y las llaves de los bolsillos interiores del corazón ansiando libertad. Gracias. Thank you. I guess you got a translation, so that's good.
Yeah, do you have the translation ready, or?
Well, it is kind of thinking about when you start, going inwardly to that creative space. You have to have some tools. You have to be prepared, and it's just that when you traverse through the labyrinth of the mind, you must know that you're going to meet up with the ghosts of in the memories, and you better be prepared with the keys in your pockets, but the pockets of the heart, because you're there, you're trying to discover, which the discovery will bring you to freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. James B. Nicola on 38.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Jackie, for doing this so much. This is called Poem, The Charge You Come Upon. 1. It is the charge you come upon sleeping under a tattered blanket sometime between midnight and dawn, like night of night becoming the night. You hesitate, but then poke a bit for company, if not just to make sure it is all right. 2. It's the squirming thing you've hunted or fished and bagged and brought home, but resists being processed. Its guts, when bared, only smatter into black on a field of white, the inverse of stars, the complement of the firmament. You thought you were to skin it, or scale it and freeze it, or smoke it to eat it, or stuff it and mount it, but only find upon evisceration that your task is the opposite. To try to put all the dark glitters back into an organism, something like the original. And ow, ooh, there's the sleepless challenge. 3. And failing, or trying and refusing to fail, you can't help but wonder, would it have been better to have left the wretched urchin resting under the blanket asleep? Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew M. O'Hearn on page 39.
This one's called Tooth and Nail. I scraped, I clawed, outlasted every god, sipped surreptitiously from the vinegar jar, escaped though flawed, contrasted with my pod. I ripped off the Band-Aid on my heart, so salt plus wound came startlingly too soon. It oozed, umami cocktail brewed from pain, the brine it burned from every lesson learned, and seared ungentle message to my brain. Tooth and nail I fought from all that I was taught. Tooth and nail eroded to the quick. Enamel, dentin, cementum, pulp, alpha keratin, fraught last bastion standing between the healed or sick. Valor de Horus, meet valor morgulis, a fresh supply of death so stoically served. Toto corpore atque omnibus ungulis, a crime it is to witness self unnerved. The sense of taste and touch now laid to waste. Infection, dereliction, seeped to core, remains consigned to be invisaligned, chaste, in giving less, resigned to taking more. The blood it streamed from every tested seam, the sweat it wet the shards of flesh and bone. The tears were shed in endless depths of dread, deemed essential, referential to tomb, stone. So what is left when one is thus bereft? What substance is the last to rot away? Nails grow in the grave, and teeth enwreath and save. Weft and warp of mouthful shrouds decay. It's no one's fault if life's fights unrecalled, the ravages of time and memory's way. But tooth and nail, though violently assailed, mauled marrow from the narrowest array. Effect immense, existence this intense, the scratch marks of the past inside the well. Memorialize the plight of those who stayed to fight the battle of the chattel to the bell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Yari Perez.
Buena, mi gente. Good evening, everyone. Let me put the video. Let's see if it works. Is my video, does everyone see me?
We only see your name.
Okay, let me try it once more.
There you are.
There we go. All right. Good evening, everyone. Buenas noches. So the poem I have for you tonight is Soy de, I'm from. It is in Spanish. I will translate it after for everyone. Soy de la isla del encanto, 100 por 35, tierra de grandes poetas, escritores, cantantes, boxeadores, peloteros, jueces de corte supremo, actores y guerreros. Soy de donde el magnífico, the great one, Roberto Clemente nació y la salsa tan sabroso y caliente cogió su sabor. Y de donde la bomba y plena suena su tambor. Soy de donde Bad Bunny se lo comió con su apagón y el reggaetón puso al mundo a perrear con su sazón. Soy de donde el mar toca el sol y las olas te cantan una canción, mientras las brisas te refrescan del calor. Soy de la mezcla de razas taíno, africano y español. Soy de donde viene Roncaña y la 10ª de la montaña. Soy de donde la estrella brilla en la bandera. Soy de Puerto Rico para que lo sepan. So I have the English translation. I mean, it's not going to be probably as good as the Spanish, but some of the things probably get lost. But I translate it as best as I can, so everyone can understand and get a little something from that, a little flavor. I'm from the island of enchantment, 100 by 35, land of great poets, writers, singers, boxers, ball players, Supreme Court justices, actors, and warriors. I'm from where the magnifico, the magnificent, the great one, Roberto Clemente was born. Salsa music got its flavor from, and bomba y plena sounds from its drums. I'm from where Bad Bunny tore it up by causing a blackout, and reggaeton put the world to dance with its sazon. I'm from where the sea touches the sun and the waves sing a song while the breeze pull you down from the heat. I'm from the mix of Taíno, African, and Spanish raíces. I'm from where the moonshine, Roncaña, and the 10ª 10-line stanza from the mountains come from. I'm from where the star shines in the flag. I'm from Puerto Rico, so that you know it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Next is Alan Raybert on page 41.
Good evening, fellow poets, and thank you, Jackie, for everything you've done to make this presentation possible. Before I begin my poem, I just wish to acknowledge the indigenous peoples, the original caretakers of the land in which we're all reading, which are the Lenni Lenape. The Lenape and also the Delaware and many other tribes also. My poem is entitled Idle No More. And before I read it, because some of the references you may not be familiar with, I wanted to let you know that the Idle No More movement was started in Canada in November of 2012. And the reason was to protect environmental rights and also to protect the land rights of First Nations people in Canada so that their homelands would not be taken from them. Secondly, when I mentioned the 60s scoop, that has to do with the forceful, I call it kidnapping of children from the First Nations and other reserves in Canada, where those children were physically taken from their parents, and many of them were sent here to the United States. And that is something that still, is very tough for many, many people, including myself, as I was adopted. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is the Red Winter. That refers to when I Don't Know More, which started with just a hashtag I Don't Know More movement, became worldwide. And it spread into the United States, and it's been a part of Indian rights, Native American rights, First Nations rights throughout the last 12 years. So with that, I will read my poem entitled I Am Idle No More. I speak to you, the unspoken silence of memories, pervasive, seeking momentary display in the urban rhetoric of disdain, a predictive line of genocide disabling connectiveness, stolen relatives separated by their names, left unspoken. To be invisible is to forever bear the consequences of worth. Relentless searching to heal the scars left by the 60s scoop, nameless children abandoned to the tears of lost families, language and culture severed by the embrace of soulless truths. The concrete darkness of shadows, casting ironclad imprisonment, as the city streets replace the names of fallen chiefs and warriors, all of whom rise above urban landscapes beckoning redemption, as the hallucination holds all perpetrators in contempt of life. My fears, predicating punctuation of a time not so long ago, when after the flood, a lonely muskrat gave its life to save others, the turtle accepting muskrat's gift to bear the weight of the world, the eagle sacrificing its freedom to forever be our friend. To you, Creator, I cry tears that suffer the disgrace of hardened stone. I speak to the cacophony of silence and the sunrises hidden behind darkness, northern winds warming ancient timelines of forced mediocrity, brutality and disease decimating 50 million of my brothers and sisters. I now raise my head to the sky people from whence I come, arm raised in defiance against the prevalence of ignorance and hate. After 368 treaties broken, lands taken, stolen lives, and lessons unlearned, I exchange their Bible from our Pachamama and restore honor to my people. Embracing the four sisters from Saskatchewan, I too will be idle no more. No more half-breeds, no more blood quantums, no more indignity, no more missing and murdered relatives in cornfields and garbage dumps, no more residential schools, no more forgotten names, no more pain. Remembering a time when all life was sacred, my blood no longer runs cold. Eighth fire prophecy stating a single spark will unite 1,000 generations. The red winter has begun, ending the bitter waters of despair and discouragement. No more silence. I cry for my people. I rejoice with my people. I rise up with my people. Aho.
Thank you. Next is Judy Salsowitz, page 44.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. My poem is Perfection.
Mother casts one stitch at a time with lavender yarn, soft as cornstarch she once rubbed on her heat rashes. Unable to accept mistakes caused by stroke-damaged hands, the stroke-damaged path between her brain and reluctant fingers, she unravels the labor of her days. 18 rows today, 12 yesterday, 24 the day before. Perfection is elusive. Her losses are not. She can no longer live in her home. Tender garden, cook, clean, dress herself, or walk unaided. Depression is her constant companion. She has endured the deaths of her husband, her son, cancer, COVID, a broken hip, pneumonia. She's relearned how to swallow, walk, and talk. Her once perfect handwriting is barely legible. Progress doesn't supplant yearning for wholeness. Her presence is a treasure. Shared memories are jewels. My sisters and I celebrate her 96th birthday, the one we thought would never be. We bring her books and search for the perfect question to knit together the stories of her life. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Zazel Sanchez Gonzalez on page 23.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I started writing this poem when my parents told me that we might be moving. The name of my poem is My Migrating Soul. My Migrating Soul, and it's on page 23. Some days emotional learning is a pain, but I always find my way. While the wind is blowing, my soul is flowing. Like a migrating bird, I can fly everywhere. Where am I going? I don't know. But migrating birds always return to the place where they were born. The spirit of my wings flying where my soul shall rest. The home is the flock, the house is the nest. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Maxine Sussman on page 47.
Jackie, thank you so much for the anthology and for the reading and for bringing all of us together. This is Overnight at the Motel Dementia. A chunk of 4x4 holds up the door sill. No outlet works for your hearing aid charger. The table is sticky, chair seat worn, the sheets thin, towels stained. The AC rattles like a broken toilet. The shower handle falls off in my hand. Cockroaches loiter on the floor. You say it's dangerous here. You think we're staying not just tonight, but all week, forever. You say it's too dangerous. The roaches will infest our bags, grow in our shoes. Too dangerous. We must pack up and leave. At last we're in bed after the roll call of your pills. You fall asleep while the smoke and CO2 detectors flash green and red for hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Farah Walters on page 51.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Farah Walters. I wrote this poem for my son when he left for college this past year. It was our first year as empty nesters, and he came home from college yesterday, so he's able to be here listening in the background. The poem's called Double Trust. That's a line from my favorite play, Macbeth. In life, we may come upon someone whose backbone is made of steel, who stands when others scatter, who has faith despite contrary evidence, whose role is to make things better. We learn from this person. We try to absorb some greatness. We hope to live up to his presence. If we are lucky, we recognize this singular person as someone to treasure. My son, you are this person. My heart is shattered and overflowing, so take a small piece, hold it in your pocket, go forth fearlessly, and know I am always here in awe of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I was going to say he better give you a hug. Next is Taraka Lee Gilbert on page 23.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Inspired by you all. Wonderful, wonderful, especially the migrating heart, soul. And this is called Commercial Face. Even as a child, she sought the comfort of the commercial face. She made believe someone else's hair into her own, and made believe someone else's eyes into her eyes too. A flower wilts wonderfully when water never reaches the roots. Watching her words and paying her bills, the woman tried to live her life by the book. And she would wring nervous sweat from complacent hands when someone out loud called out her name. Just how deep can an ostrich sink his head beneath burning sand? She learned that silence simmers down to transparency, and her fairest of mirrors faded back to black. Accepted skin, hair, eyes, accepted words mean zero to no thing. If the two-headed God she praised are prone to shake and quake, her manufactured self into a shard, into a confusion of shooting shards. She found that no more lipstick could pretty up hypocrisy. The road is long to resurrection. Self-anointed ugly crucifies her face. But like flowers fighting fiercely against certain death, like a waking ostrich shaking off sleek and stretching its neck, may this woman find a spine in her voice. May she caress her own skin, bat her eyes, braid her hair, and behold herself a welcome sight in her own reflexive eyes.
Thank you. Are there any poets that were submitted into the anthology here to read that I did not call?
I would like to do it.
Okay, just this one, so you can do it without being in the book. Go ahead, Natalie.
There are about to say I do's. 3 little letters. 2 little words. It's the simplest part of the day. But there is nothing simple about the things that would remain unsaid. I do means I do know. I could be hurt, but I am ready to be healed with you. It means I do want to try, even when the fear of failure holds me back. I do not know the future, but I am ready to surprise along the way. I do means I do want your love, and I do give you mine. And nothing we do will ever be the same, because you and I will be doing it all together.
Thank you. Okay, I did have 2 poets who said they were going to log in around 8, but seeing as there's no other poets signed in now, thank you for attending our poetry reading. I will be emailing everyone around February 1st of 2025 with the next submission sheets, and we'll do it all over again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for a lovely.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Awesome job, everybody.
Wonderful
Great
job,
poetry.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Poets.
How do we get the chat messages?
Everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Jackie, thank you so much.
You're
Yeah, this was
welcome.
great. How do we get the chat messages? Do we get them?
I don't know if those are recorded in the.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. But thanks. This was great, Jackie.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank everybody else. There's such beautiful poetry. Very beautiful poetry.
Yeah, it really ranges from beginners to experts. So.
Yeah, well, I just thought we were just ordinary people.
check out everyone's biographies.
Oh, okay. Then
they
I'll
list
see.
what
Oh, okay.
they list what awards they've won and where they've been published.
Oh, okay. Well, I better hurry to catch up. Yari was pretty good. Yari Porter Rock.
Thank you all for having me. It was a great experience.
Yes,
yes.
Mrs.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll participate next year.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Send an email. I can shoot it into the chat message really quick. If you're interested
Great
in
job,
joining
everyone.
next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, just send an email to that address, nbpoetry@gmail.com, and I will add you to the list.
Okay,
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the anthology is nice, it's beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
everybody's words, excellent poets, excellent.
Yeah, thank you so much. We didn't know we were so great.